Welcome back, everyone, to the Yu-Gi-Oh! WCQ States 2024. We now have our top 8 in Jason Webster versus Daniel Tang. Jason Webster on the play, starting off on his Snake Eyes, and we have Voiceless voice for Daniel Tang. And looking at that hand,
very powerful hand.
Yeah, quite a bit to work with there.
Bonfire, Wanted, and Crossout, so a lot of extension from Jason Webster here. Starting off with a Bonfire, trying to fetch a Snake Eye Ash, and then we're going to try and normal summon a Snake Eye Ash, go into Poplar. Poplar will summon from hand. Poplar on summon effect will probably add in this scenario a Divine Temple, since we already have the Wanted access to original simple spoils.
And over on Daniel Tang's side,
the Ash being met with Imperm shuts off this entire line I just ranted about.
Yeah, oh, there's the cross out. And that is a big play here. I mean, what do we potentially see?
And then
Chain. Okay. I mean, interesting thing here is, I mean, both of those cards that have been utilized by Daniel Tang are not once per turn.
Yes.
You can use Imperm and a Veiler. So this cross out, now actually choosing what you want to go with, but opting for the...
When you activate Crossout, you declare
it has to be... Oh, okay, so you must have already declared it. Okay, great.
Activating Wanted next. Interesting that he decided... I guess because there's no draw, you can just hold it. Because usually what you'd want to do is either hold the Wanted for to check for a draw, or want it in the draw phase. It really just depends on what your hand is and what you want to bait your opponent into doing. But we get the Diabolstar here. We're probably going to go Diabolstar, sending, I think, the Ash in our hand? Or just the Ashen Field, that also works.
Yeah, Ashen Field, no, get that. I mean, the value alone from this now, because once you bring the Ash back, it's not going to be negated anymore. So essentially, you've utilized your cross out, 2 hand traps it down, and you're still continuing going with the game. Actually, interesting to think of the cross out being used there. I guess it did base out the Veiler, but having the Wanted means that you probably could have continued through that. But like you said, be careful of the draw.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, like you always want to cross out as soon as you can, because you know that if my play gets stopped, I lose to more hand traps than if I didn't just cross out this. And summoning the Oak here, the Oak will be able to summon back the Ash. And then we have to see what line he wants to do here. He can go Wanted to put the original back to the bottom of the deck and then draw one, just to see if he draws any additional extenders, which is going to do now.
Yeah. I personally, I love doing that early, just to see kind of what you can get out of the deck. Some people will actually argue that you can do some deck thinning first, but seeing kind of, or trying to get through getting more engine before you search for it can be really, really handy. Does reduce your chance of getting hand traps, but you're going first in the situation, you want that engine.
Yeah. Activating Oak here, we're probably going to summon out a Flamberge.
Yep, Flamberge in defense. And then does have some...
And I'm placing the... Okay, so we didn't draw into quite enough extension, so we're just going to place the Diabolstar in the spot trap zone. In the opponent's turn, the Flamberge will be able to summon the Diabolstar, and then we'll be able to get an original follow-up, because obviously the original was put back to the bottom of the deck via the Wanted. Doing this in the draw phase is interesting. It kind of telegraphs that, hey, maybe I don't have hand traps.
Yeah, I don't have much to kind of work from here. I need to get...
Because the only reason you do this is to play around talents.
Absolutely. I just like that, just guaranteeing the zones that you're playing within there from Jason.
Special summon
and we did see does have the instant fusion in hand as well, so we'll probably see that play probably also Millennium Eyes Restrict, or do you think there's something else? I mean, we can maybe bring up Daniel Tang's deck list quickly and just check.
It could be Mud Dragon, it could be Millennium Eyes Restrict. Both of them work efficiently. Millennium Eyes being good for hand traps, and Mud Dragon being good for boards, essentially, because the Snake Eye board ends on a lot of targeting disruption.
And Daniel Tang's pretty much built not a Voiceless voice board, but does have quite a lot to work with. Okay, only touching Voiceless voice now, getting an Ash over there.
Ashing the Saphira is great, but unfortunately the Millennium Eyes Trick will be able to trade for it. Chaining Imperm, so it gets negated on resolution. We will have an opportunity to activate the Fenrir, most likely going after the Flamberge, as we don't want that to hit the graveyard and bring back the Oak and the Ash.
But even with such limited plays currently from Jason, still being able to do quite a bit to slow Daniel Tang down. Dash and Impa were great in the way that they were
It also just looks like a pass here.
Yeah. Oh no, it was a activation of Fenrir to search, but just searching another Fenrir. It's not like there's any Kashtira follow-up in this list.
The last card in hand, I can't quite see.
I think it's one of the ritual cards, but which one is it is the question.
It could be a...
Oh,
it's the Odd Eyes
okay.
Pendulum Graph Dragon.
Okay.
So this is a spell trap negate, and then when it negates, it puts itself back into the pendulum scale.
Okay, interesting. So it's, and I take it that this was done in the draw phase on the past, because we did have the service thing negated, right? It was just the effect that was it was the Asher was just negated. Yeah, that's actually, yeah, that's fine. It's just the other effect. I mean, with this being main phase, I mean, there's still more that Daniel Tang can do.
There's a bunch of considerations here, especially with the original being set at a known quantity. You might want to convert this Millenniumizer ship, because it's going to be destroyed during the end phase because of instant fusion, into an SP Little Knight, and just get rid of the set original. And then your Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon can negate something like a Bonfire, a follow-up Wanted. There's a lot of spell starters in Snake Eye.
Definitely quite a lot to consider. That with materials on the board, I mean, there's definitely choices to be made here for Daniel Tang. Probably just checking if there's any restrictions for summoning with Millennium.
There's a lot of pressure on these duelists. This is top state of the effectively national championship. I mean, we have extra time as well. Let them consider their options, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, if you do take a look at the time, there are 60 minutes in time limits, not just the 45 for a standard match. 52 minutes left. It's
like we're going to go battle phase, clear over just get some damage in effectively, and then get a direct attack with the pendulum graph in.
I do think that's probably, that's quite relevant when you're playing these slower games here, where there is quite a lot of hand traps. It's not as big as the blowouts as we've seen prior. Both players have been having quite a lot of attrition between
It's
them.
really ironic that Snake Eyes format, the most combo orientated format, is a lot of the times just unga bunga, I'm gonna punch you, because it devolves into hand trap wars.
Absolutely. It we revert back to older game design, basically, where you're attributing for a normal monster.
It just looks like we're passing on this Fenrir and Pendulum Graph, so in phase the Millenniumizer is going to die, so we clearly value the Fenrir.
The scary thing that I would be thinking about if I was in Daniel's position now is that your follow-up is just your top deck. You don't really have much more than that. Fenrir is already activated to bring up the other Fenrir. And Bonfire,
there we get
my
the punish.
word. There it is. Do we use the Pendulum Graph there?
We do, because the original needs to send a face-up card, so you need to commit something to the board first.
Yeah, and it really depends what is...
Oh, and it summons a Odd Eyes monster from the extra deck.
Okay,
so
awesome.
this turns off monster effects in the opponent's possession during the battle phase.
Okay. Wanted coming out?
Did we set a Wanted off of the...
Must have, yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, because that's been the same position from
surely
game
that's
one.
a misplay then, because now what's going to happen is you're going to send the last card in your hand for Diabolstar. Diabolstar is going to set original, and then Fenrir is going to banish the Diabolstar.
True, yeah, the activation.
That's why we have
Okay,
a
that's
Flamberge in
huge.
hand.
That is huge. Also, you get to chain block here as well, summon things out, and I mean, sorry, just to go over the synchro that's on the field again. What does it actually restrict?
The synchro, so monsters in your opponent's possession cannot activate the effects during the battle phase. So it's only going to apply during the battle phase. Right now, it's just a body on the field. But this is an uber outplay. I think this is very, very well. If we had known that a Flamberge, I would have made those comments. This is uber well thought out and planned out from Jason here.
Yeah. It does look like Daniel Tang is also just delaying on the use of the Fenrir here. Although we'd have to see the resolution before we can actually see if it does get used. But the target's going to be important.
Chainlink 1 Ash here. Daniel Tang has the option to chainlink 2 Fenrir here. I'm not sure if he wants to.
Yeah, it's regardless. I mean, I really think like Jason has just filled up the board. I mean, just getting those two bodies in, you only usually need just the Ash to really get going, and now you have the Oak already in play. There's so much room for expanding this board.
It's ironic because the original doesn't do a lot anymore because the Ash is going to add a Poplar, and now we've used all of our names.
Still a good summon, especially when used for link material, is going to be able to
later on in the turn as well, because our Oak hasn't activated its effect to summon on summon. True. So we can Princess Reborn our Snake Eye Oak to summon back another level 1 as well.
What are we fetching with the Poplar now?
Just a
Temple.
Yeah. Temple can place a Snake Eye Diabolstar from deck, which is another additional extender.
Yeah, I mean, Jason is just running away with this game now. Especially with the extended time, I think it's beholden to Daniel Tang to play it out regardless. I mean, let's say there is a massive blunder. I don't think that there's room for Jason to make a blunder. Definitely a seasoned player that has already shown us what he can do when he's with his sequencing. But I mean, if you're in Daniel Tang's position, I'm pretty sure you are going to play it out, see if there is an out.
Yeah. There's also a lot you can do here from Jason's position. You can turn your Poplar into an Anima, and then go into Dark to take the Millennium Eyes Restrict as well.
And then, oh my word.
And then you can turn those into a Celine, bring back your Diabolstar, carry on with your, like, just so much lethal pressure. Snake Eye Diabolstar, putting the Flambird into the Spell Trap Zone to summon itself out. Later on in the turn, what we first want to do... Oh, we're just going battle phase.
Battle, interesting.
Diabolstar, and then this is 19, 17, and 2000. Is that enough?
Yeah, on 4,700. I think there can be 1,000 life, potentially. 900. Okay. Well, I was 100 off. My maths isn't great. But, I mean, that is looking really good for Josh. I mean, if you take into account now as well that main phase 2, you can set up this really powerful board that can stop anything that your opponent...
Oh, no, of course. I mean, Daniel Tang here is on the top deck, and any amount of interruption that we put up is just going to be enough. So rather than wasting your mental energy, you can simplify the board state, because there is effectively nothing that Daniel Tang can draw here that will win him the game. I like this sequencing as well of the Ash sending the Snake Eye Diabolstar to the graveyard first before you commit your Poplar to the graveyard, because you want your Poplar to put your Snake Eye Diabolstar back into the spell trap.
Absolutely, yeah. You want to make sure that the ordering is correct so you get the most optimal board possible. And I think this is something that you can kind of attest to the stronger players, is that even when they're in such a strong winning position, they're like, you know what, maybe there's something I've overlooked. Let me still try and play as optimally as possible.
Of course. You make it a habit, a muscle memory.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, it rewards you. This is why these players are on top tables. I think for this, what will also be quite interesting is the way Daniel Tang adjusts. I mean, going, I think it is safe to assume that there isn't really a single out or for drawing a single card that we will be seeing here. But how does Daniel Tang adjust for going second in the next round? I mean, going first in the next round. Sorry. Second Poplar.
Snake Eye Ash can't summon Snake Eye Ash from deck, so it's just a minor correction there. Summoning the Poplar instead of the Ash from deck. We're just thinking about our players, trying to see how we can sequence this into an appropriate board.
This is really interesting. I mean, have we even seen a Link monster yet?
We're about to.
Yeah, we're about to. But, I mean, we're so far into this turn, and
okay, the first monster we're going to summon is the IP Masquerena, and then Poplar is going to place the Snake Eye Diabolstar back into the spell trap zone, which gives it even more follow-up.
Yeah, I mean, IP, Temple, Snake Eye Diabolstar, Flamberge, that is a lot that you want us to deal with.
I think it is very awkward here though for Jason, as summoning this IP very early means that he's effectively turned off his Celine lines, which means his Apo access is looking very strange. But there still is obviously the potential of Original being able to send the temple to get an additional level 1 on the field.
That is an interesting one. Not something I've really thought of as there, because for me it's kind of, you want to keep your temple as your passing.
Absolutely.
I mean, a Appaloosa with a with a few negates on it is pretty good in place of a temple.
Just deciding. Okay. Converting these two into a Celine. And Celine going to summon back the Snake Eyes Diabolsa in defense position. I don't really understand the point of going into IP Masquerena there. I think it was a little bit of a waste of material, but maybe I'm overlooking something.
I mean, is there a way to send the IP through to the Spell Trap Zone still?
Not at all, because there's no way right now to summon the Flambird from the Spell Trap Zone, so there's no way for the Flambird to place the IP into the Spell Trap. Because the one Flambird is banished face down.
Yeah, true, from the Fenrir, yes. Alrighty. Ah, there we go. That looked like it was the hand signal for a pass.
Yeah. As soon as during the end phase, he gets to search for a ritual spell or ritual monster. Then returns to his hand. As soon as Daniel Tang commits anything to the board, Divine Temple will trigger, and you get to summon back your Flambird, and then your Flambird can obviously summon your Snake Eye Diabolsa as well. You just get to generate 2 more bodies on top of that.
Yeah. I mean, interesting enough, I was talking about Daniel Tang starting this turn with 1 card in hand, but he's going to be starting it with 3. Is it going to be enough?
2 known quantities.
Yeah.
Looks like he drew Barrier for turn, which could actually get him out of the situation.
I wonder what these players are talking about here, the queries between them. Staying down a very scary board, but opting to play in it. Barrier being placed down in the main phase.
There's no princess in the graveyard either, so anything that Daniel Tang summons will be protected inherently.
Hey, what is the play?
Just a quick mental note for everyone watching at home, this Appaloosa is on 1600 attack. There's also quite a number of spells in the graveyard, so there is a potential Sarotha's Lion going into battle phase to attack over the Appaloosa, and then when the temple triggers, you can Sarotha's effect as well.
Yeah, I must say the mental fortitude to do this. I think that if I was in Daniel Tang's shoes, once I saw that board, if I was playing locals, I'd kind of be like, okay, game 2, let's scoop it up and carry on. But willing to play through it and see what can be done. There's the Skull Guardian added to hand.
We have a ritual summon of Skull Guardian available here. Our biggest problem right now is just that Appaloosa is countering that very line, but we're still going to try for it, see if Jason Webster maybe slips up somewhere. That's the most we can hope up for.
And how many, what's the level of the Pendulum Graph?
It's level 7 as well as the Skull Guardian. Oh, we're tributing the Skull Guardian for the Pendulum Graph.
All right.
On summon, the Divine Temple triggers, we're going to summon out our Snake Eye Diabolsa. Snake Eye Flamberge Dragon.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like as soon as Flamberge is out, it's almost game over, right?
That is just so much follow-up.
Yeah.
Your only little spell trap, or your spell negate, sorry.
Yeah.
It's not doing quite enough.
Especially considering if there's any opting to use it, Appaloosa can just stop it in its tracks. It's not really going to get very far.
You could also argue that he goes into battle phase and destroys the Appaloosa via battle phase. You could also argue that a Typhon comes down. The battle phase, we're probably just going to declare an attack with a Typhon, and then Typhon effect, returning the Flamberge to the hand. And then it is going to be a struggle for Jason to try and out this Typhon, because Flamberge doesn't just apply its effect to the field, it applies its effect to everything that has more than 3,000 or more attack.
Alrighty, yeah.
So even if the Flamberge goes to graveyard while Typhon is on the field,
Still no
effect. As
That's
well as
interesting.
turning off access code, because if you activate access code on summon, it boosts itself and you can no longer destroy cards. So you need to summon access code, not use its effect, and
then try work from it.
yeah.
Interesting. Okay, one thing quite sure that's the targeted bounce. Okay, and then it looks like we have the pass. So Flamberge in hand. Or two cards. Well, one card is known as Flamberge. One card drawn, Oaken on the field. Snake Eye Dare, Bellstar, activating effect.
Placing the Poplar in the spot trap zone.
Summon itself out.
Original can send the Poplar, and then Poplar will still place another fire monster from the graveyard in the spot trap zone, so you just get a lot of value. But first we're gonna Snake Eye Oak to summon an Ash from the deck, or Flamberge from hand.
Yeah.
We spoke about this earlier, ironically.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Flamberge from hand is not something that you always see exceptionally often, because you do kind of want to get cards out your deck as soon as possible. But that does look like it's the scoop for Daniel Tang now. This does mean, however, that for Jason Webster, going up one in top 8 is exactly where you want to be. Sideboard coming in now, as much as I'm sure that Daniel Tang is going to want to be going first here.
The reason why Daniel Tang decided to scoop there is because Jason Webster simply declared battle phase, so you can go Flamberge, attack over the Typhon, and then just deal the last little bit of 900 damage with the Snake Eye Dare.
Yeah, that's more than enough to take it down. So we'll get the deck list up in a second and have a look at what these siding patterns look like. And I think going first, the interesting part's going to be taking cards out for Daniel Tang as well. Looks like from what we can see with him moving the cards around, trying to get rid of some of those hand traps potentially. But if we look at this sideboard, so we have more of a Kashtira package, so you can bring in a Birth, a Second Fenrir, and a Unicorn in the side, which is interesting. I imagine that's probably for going second, right? Or would you consider
it's actually for going first, because
Really?
because the Kashtira engine in Snake Eye is there to deal with hand traps and punish hand traps.
Fantastic, especially because I mean you'll have them chaining. I think Unicorn in this matchup probably goes crazy.
Obviously, if Fenrir is good in the matchup, then you'd want to side it in.
Yeah.
But usually it's just for going first, yes. What I do see coming in though is the Bestials and potentially the Cosmic Cyclone.
Yeah. And I was talking about the Kashtira monsters. There's even a red swap over there. But yeah, I think that's great. Let's look over at Jason Webster now. Called by. Sorry, Daniel Tang's one. Forbidden Droplets. I mean, I feel like those are just good second and first. And against Voiceless because it's non-targeting. Barrier stops targeting, right? So stop.
Barrier stops targeting. Yes.
So I imagine Forbidden Droplet could actually go quite well into that.
Droplet is very good against Voiceless Voice. The DD Crows are also very solid against Snake Eye, because you can just hit Poplar targets, Snake Eye Bellstar targets. You can even hit Flamberge out of the graveyard. You can hit IP. It's extremely versatile to what your opponent is trying to do. I can assume that really just the DD Crows and the Droplets.
Absolutely. Awesome. Let's see. Players shuffling up. They have sided. We'll have to see if our predictions for what the sided cards are is actually what we're going to be seeing. 35 minutes left on the clock for these players. Here we go. Draw 5. Let's get started. Game 2. Yeah, game 2, top 8. Snake Eyes versus Voiceless Voice. Voiceless Voice essentially going first by a strong assumption. And it looks like we do have an Ash Blossom over on Jason Webster's hand.
Our players off with a normal summon of low. It looks like we have a spell in hand. I can't quite identify it. Replace Barrier from deck. Barrier will be able to add Saphira. Saphira will be able to discard itself, send a Voiceless Voice ritual spell from your deck to graveyard, and then add a Voiceless Voice monster, being Skull Guardian, and then you can banish the Saphira to ritual summon, denied by Ash Blossom. The spell that we have in hand is called Blessings of the Voiceless Voice, which can add back a Voiceless Voice monster from a graveyard of banishment.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and then when your opponent no more special summons, you can ritual summon.
Oh wow, okay, that gives a lot of power.
Yeah.
This is quite nice though. It'll be interesting if, I mean, can DD Code target your own graveyard?
It cannot.
And also, okay. But letting that go, I mean...
I don't think you would try to deny this Jerusalem from coming down. You don't really have future plays to try and do. This blessing is going to add back with Saphira. And then we will try to see where we can go from here.
I must say, I do really enjoy the slower pace of play that we get in the top 8. It's very interesting. You tend to just think about what the player opportunities are here, and you can really see how the cogwheels in their minds are turning as they go.
Yeah.
And ooh, is that just a pass?
That is, we're really just trying to make our opponent trigger the blessing, tributing our low so that we can get the Skull Guardian on the field, which is at least sort of an interruption.
There's the Wanted.
Adding Snake Idea Valstar. This very easily telegraphs that we already have Dear Valstar in hand, and we also have set up for the add of Snake Idea Valstar to be good. So it gives Daniel Tang a lot of free information, actually.
Okay, let's see. I'm not too sure what these hand gestures are trying to show us here.
Okay, we're going to Snake Idea Valstar, discarding the Dear Valstar, discarding the Snake Idea Valstar. Probably going to try and set the original simple spoils, but on summon of the Dear Valstar, chaining 1 Dear Valstar, chaining 2 Blessing. Blessing is going to tribute the low for the ritual summon, summoning Seraphis, and then Dear Valstar is going to resolve, setting the original simple spoils. It is very unfortunate because although the low gets to come back here, original sending Jerusalem immediately trades for the Seraphis that's on field.
Oof, but in Droplet coming in, I wasn't quite expecting that as a route.
When low comes back, it triggers obviously to place another Voiceless Voice continuous spell or continuous trap from deck. So what this is doing is Jason is just denying Daniel from having access to Radiance, which is relevant.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Looks like taking both of them because of the card that was sent.
And then Jerusalem targeting the Seraphis. So it's Droplet negating the low, and then Jerusalem sending the Seraphis.
Now Daniel Tang, once again, no rituals on the field.
I'm looking up at these duelists, and Jason looks so happy right now.
Yeah,
he looks so satisfied with his line that he's doing.
Like, he deserves to be happy with the lines he's taking. I think very reserved play, but knowing when to push the gas and actually commit extra cards and limit what Voiceless Voices a deck can actually do. And there we go, the bonfire.
Gosh.
No wonder he's smiling there. Look at his face.
So rude.
Just let me try and fight through what I have, and then surprise, let's give you a bonfire and just start all over.
Snake Eye Ash adding Poplar, getting Divine Temple placing Snake Eye Oak, and then a Snake Eye Ash sending the Oak to summon a Flamberge, and then from there you can go link to Poplar placing the Snake Idea Valstar back into the spell trap zone, and the world is your oyster from that position.
Absolutely. And although we do have the DD Crow, but I say that, but what's the DD Crow actually going to be hitting here? Really,
it's really hard. I think it's only going to trade for the Snake Idea Bellstar. It could maybe trade for a possible Princess or a Raging Phoenix if we try and go for an OTK line. But I think holding it up there, especially when the Bellstar is already on the field and we threaten a potential Appaloosa, I think it's very dangerous to sit and wait. But we'll see what these duelists decide to do.
I mean, from what we've seen, the DD Crow is the last interruption Daniel Tang has, isn't it?
Last card in hand is the Ancient Seraphis, which is the non-ritual Seraphis. Flamberge putting the low back in the spot trap zone, or not back, but in the spot trap zone.
Yeah, doing that just. Oh, I feel like as Voiceless voice, that's
that
probably
low
the
is
worst
gone.
place
It's worse than it being banished.
Absolutely, like you have no way to really.
No way.
Find a way to get use off of this. It's almost like that zone has been blocked out. It's like we're in Kashtira format all over again.
It is okay. It is slightly better because Skull Guardian can still negate.
Because there's low on the field.
Because there's low on the field.
That is a very interesting interaction. It doesn't say a monster named low, so I guess that's quite crazy.
Okay, looks like Poplar has resolved placing the Snake Idea Bellstar. Oh, we're gonna add Crow this. Oh, crazy. Crazy plays.
Ooh, I don't think Jason was fully ready for that one.
I don't think it's an optimal point to Crow either. I just think in this situation you're really like pulling at straws here and hoping that it actually makes an impact. Because usually you'd want to save all of this for a potential lethal push. Just go into dark and take the DD Crow.
Oh my word.
Such a big punish.
And
then go immediately into Celine. Celine threatens an Appo, and then the original can send the Flamberge, and we are
off to the races.
Just
access code. Okay, let's just end this off now. There it is. There's the handshake.
We didn't even need to, you know?
Wow.
We disrespect every card in the hand. We didn't even...